The fact that we've arrested someone with a fucking 10-inch machete in it, is that good enough for you? Or do you want to piss off down the street and let's do a fucking job?
Every single business that is going to miss out on me, I am going to tell them, each individually, why I'm not going to shop there anymore. I will be waiting for a response, Mr. Allinson, and I will also be seeking damages and action for assault and battery from Bubbles. Ahem. This photo was taken by myself as I was working on the next video. Bubbles, the security guard who I believed groped a minor and then proceeded to assault myself, is still working as a security guard in Manchester City Centre, Arndale, as of Saturday 3rd of February 2024. I managed to take this snapshot during a busy shopping day when children and families were walking around a busy Arndale centre. Later on, I revisited the information desk at Arndale to ask why Bubbles was still there, and I was once again greeted by the assistant security manager, Sean.
Okay, what can I do for you today?
I saw the guy earlier who assaulted me a few weeks ago.
Okay.
He's still here.
Okay.
He's still here.
So that's an internal matter that'll be being dealt with.
It is being dealt with.
I can't comment on what is happening at the moment, obviously, because it's a confidential matter between the company and this person. I know you are involved, but we can't disclose any information like that to anybody, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's employment law, the disciplinary any disciplinary procedures. It wouldn't be fair if the same thing was you was in these shoes.
Yeah.
And I was to disclose information about you to somebody else, then it's letting your information out to somebody else. So at the moment, any information about people that was involved in that, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to discuss with you.
Well, I'm glad that it's been dealt with at least. It's been spoken about, because seeing him again, it makes me wonder if anything is actually going to happen, because the allegations are made against him were quite serious, and he's still here.
But also to that, sir, they was just allegations. So the centre itself has to investigate any stuff like that. There was just allegations at first. There was nothing.
There's evidence.
But that's why they have to investigate stuff like that.
Yeah.
All it is at that stage, all it is an allegation, isn't it?
Right.
So we can't say to somebody go because an allegation's come.
Ask if the police has been in touch.
I'm not too sure, sir. It's an answer I can't give you. Because from the complaint and stuff, like I explained to you last time, that goes to the top of the centre management team, and they will deal with that. Whether they've been in contact with GMP, I wouldn't know. That it doesn't come down. That doesn't come down as far as at my level, unfortunately.
This meeting was followed up by an email by Margaret Emmett, personal assistant to Mr. Allinson, who on 7th of February wrote to me, "Please find below our response to the very serious allegations made in your video posted on YouTube on 29th of January 2024 during an incident which took place in the centre on 8th of January 2024. We have now had the opportunity to undertake a full and thorough investigation into the incident. All those involved have been interviewed, and footage from the centre's CCTV cameras and the body cameras worn by the members of the security team involved have been carefully reviewed. We can find no evidence to support the claims of sexual assault that were made in your video, and have for completeness passed the video on to Greater Manchester Police. It is apparent that the engagement of some of the security officers could have presented as being robust and been better managed. It is also important to note that the security officers had just been asked by the Greater Manchester Police officers who were present on site at the time to support them in their plainclothes operation. However, following the review, we have identified learnings to take away from this incident and will ensure that the wider security team are briefed and updated. We sincerely hope that this incident does not deter you from visiting us again, as the safety, security and well-being of all shoppers and staff is always our first priority. Yours sincerely, Margaret Emmett, PA to Centre Director. Now, I don't believe that either Miss Emmett or Mr. Allenson have seen my previous video for a number of reasons. Firstly, notice the use of the word robust when describing this. Secondly, they stated, "We can find no evidence to support the claims of sexual assault that were made in your video." Yeah, you can. Here. And thirdly, why would you expect to find footage of the assault via your security personnel's body cam footage when the only one who could have captured it was Bubbles himself and his camera would have been pointing away from the child at the time? For this, I cannot recommend anyone shop at the Manchester Arndale Centre, as clearly the safety, security and well-being of all shoppers and staff is not the first, second, nor even third priority. I would deign to say even breaks into their top 100. However arrogant Arndale have seemingly been, at the very least they responded to my complaint, which is far more than I can say for Greater Manchester Police, who as of the date of the original incident on 8th of January, they still have not responded to the report that I made of child sexual assault, nor the report regarding my assault, nor the complaint that I made regarding PC 09108, I'm not telling you my fucking name. Nothing whatsoever. According to 4.0 of GMP's incident response policies, all incidents should have at quickest a 15-minute call-out window, or at longest, 48 hours of the call receipt. This is all dependent on the seriousness of the report. According to 4.1 graded response definitions, it explains that a grade 1 emergency attendance would be most appropriate as there was a use or immediate threat of use of violence, serious injury to person and or serious damage to property. So according to their own policies, I should have been visited by the police within 15 minutes of the incident, and as of the 8th of February, the 1-month anniversary of the incident, and the date of the following footage, it had taken GMP to address a 15-minute window, 44,640 minutes and counting to respond. Looks empty from the outside. Just was it? Nobody around. Hello. I'll point you away, but it's very important that I have to ask you. It's unfortunate that I've had to come in today. I reported child sexual abuse a month ago. Police from this station were supposed to deal with it, and I have received no response, nothing. I was also gang assaulted. Nothing has come from that. I want to know which officers are dealing with it. I would like to speak with them right now.
Okay, do you have your ID with you?
I have my ID. I'm not going to show it you.
You're not going to show it?
Why should I have to show you ID?
Well, if you've reported something where you are the victim, I need to ensure that you are who you say you are.
I have to show you my ID to ensure you that I'm the victim.
Well, otherwise, can you put the phone down?
Do you like people seeing your face and knowing your name?
No, I do. We are entitled to privacy.
Right.
I'm not a police officer.
You're entitled to privacy. I'm entitled to mine. The log number.
Okay.
The log number is here to serve me. That's all there is to it. If you don't like being filmed, find another job.
Of what date?
8th of January 2024.
Right. Listen to me. I want to be able to help you, okay?
Right.
I want to be able
I'll point you away from you then.
You're not, because you keep turning it towards me.
Well, if you say something that's very alarming, I will have to point at you because you're denying me my human rights. You're denying.
Anything.
Yes, you are.
I'm not denying you
I don't have to provide you any.
I need that information so that
Why?
I can verify who you are. I'm trying to explain that to you.
Why do you need my private information? You have a sign there that says that you don't have to provide me with your information. Why should I have to provide you with anything? I've just given you the log number. How would anybody else have that information except for me?
You are asking me to look into something for you.
Yeah.
I want to be able to do that, and I want to be able to give you as much information and help.
What
you as much
information
as
do
I
you need?
possibly can. I need your name, your date of birth, and the log number.
I've given you my log number. I did not give my date of birth
Give me the log
to.
number again.
It's.
Right. What's your name?
And I haven't given a date of birth.
Date of birth.
I am not giving you my date of birth.
Is it the,
What's your date of
my
birth?
date of birth?
What's
It's
your
not
date of birth?
relevant to you. It isn't relevant to you.
So it's not my date of birth isn't
How is it
relevant
not
to you.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Right, I'm going to have to turn the phone around now because that is quite alarming.
That is how we locate people on our system.
But I haven't given it to you previously. I don't even know how you got that.
Give you any information because I've got no confirmation that you are who you're saying you are, because you won't give me any ID. That's the same across the board with anybody that comes in. I need to see ID before I can discuss somebody's case.
This via the Information Commissioner's Office. When might we need to share personal data with law enforcement authorities? It states, there are likely to be 3 circumstances when you may need to share personal data with a law enforcement authority to enable it to carry out its law enforcement functions, stating that where you receive a request from a law enforcement authority for personal data you hold, for example, the police may request personal data from you to help them investigate a crime. Which.co.uk defines personal data identifiers as name, home address or email address. Any one of these would have been more proportionate as an identifier than physical ID.
What I can do for you is request that they give you a call back.
Okay.
Alright?
Am I allowed the officer's name who's dealing with it?
At the moment I can't see who it is.
You can't see who it is, so it hasn't been allocated, is what you're telling me.
It has been allocated, it's with supervision. Okay?
What does that mean?
It means that it's with the officer's supervision, so it's been raised to their supervision. Whether that's, I can't discuss what that means, but it's with their supervision.
Yeah, but that's taken a month.
I've tried to contact our supervision, I can't get through.
Right.
Okay? What I can do is put another note on there. I can see that you've already phoned this morning.
Yes.
Requested an update. I can put another note on there stating that you have attended the station.
Yeah.
Wanting an update.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're all having a good giggle about this.
I'm sure you nobody's giggling.
Nobody's giggling about child sexual assault and gang assault.
Nobody giggles about child sexual assault.
I'm sure they do at the police. They were there. They were there at the scene when it happened. I tried to report it to them and they told me to fuck off down the road. That was PC 09108. He works at this station. He has a Scottish accent and he is a monster who should be sacked. So you can see why I'm apprehensive about giving you my details, because I'm pretty sure that they've seen footage and evidence of that assault and of the child sexual assault, and they probably had a good giggle about it.
Can I just request that you stop filming to give you the legal privacy? You are in public.
I'm not going to share what they have to say online.
That's not something that I'm going to stop this conversation. I'm going to ask you to stop filming while there's other people discussing their private cases.
They're going over there. It's fine.
I've told you everything that I can. Okay?
Right.
There's nothing else that I can do for you. I can put an update on the log and ask somebody to contact you.
Am I allowed to know the specific officers who are the supervisors?
The supervisors, I don't know what ones they are, because it would be the supervisors of whoever the officer is that deal with it.
And you're not allowed to tell me who the officer
I
is
don't know
that's
who the officer is.
so it's not on the
I can
file.
raise it on the log, and the relevant people will be made aware that you have attended today.
Okay, so
Alright?
I'm going to update the YouTube channel because I'm pretty sure you're aware that this incident has been raised with the public. It has a few thousand views, this incident. It's quite horrifying. and the public is aware of it, has affected Arndale Centre. It has affected probably this child. It's definitely affected me, and it's taken a month, and the supervisors are sitting on their arses doing nothing about it. So those supervisors, their chief constable is Stephen Watson, who's the chief inspector for this area.
Chief inspector?
Yes. There's a few. Who's the head of town hall station?
I'm not sure.
Okay, well, I'll Google it. I'll find out later. However, I will be putting the blame on their shoulders, because this is entirely, everything that happens on the ground is their responsibility. The fact that a child's safety and my safety is a joke to them, it just speaks volumes to what the police has become.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
This is the individual responsible for my attack and the child sexual assault, Chief Inspector Stephen Wiggins. Since Stephen Wiggins doesn't have the temerity to speak with me in person, or the common decency to deal with my crime, probably due to the sheer lack of a backbone for using disproportionate plainclothes policing to justify his very much unearned £64,000 annual salary, I'd like to share with you a photo of the district that he manages, taken the day after I uploaded my previous video on the 30th of January. Look at these photographs of Manchester city centre. Not a single police officer. They had perhaps been scared away by the publishing of my video, which was not only shared with them, but also the director of Arndale and the public. Market Street, Piccadilly Gardens, Corporation Street, heck, even Ancoats looked wonderful that day. And Chief Inspector Wiggins would probably argue that it's due to the hard-fought efforts of his brave officers taking down those pesky kids wielding dining cutlery. Is that Chief Inspector Wiggins why I've bumped into these exact same kids twice in and around Arndale since that day? Indeed it was, and miraculously, I wasn't stabbed once by a cheese knife. Sure, they were feral and obnoxiously aggressive, but that comes with the territory of being a 12-year-old. It's less becoming, however, when it's a fully grown adult playing police officer, though. Now, some of you at home might be thinking, that's a coincidence, Manchester looking like that. Really? After a year of police patrolling and circling city centre like the praying mantises that they are, GMP decides that they're done. No, Greater Manchester Police didn't do this. I did this. An auditor did this. Pay attention, people at home. This is what your town could look like, instead of the failed state that it probably does when the police aren't in it making problems for the public. This is what it looks like when you shine a spotlight into the darkness where the monsters prey on the very people they are meant to be helping. As far as I'm concerned, this level of peace is worth more to me than the £64,000 annual salary made by the predatory Chief Inspector Stephen Wiggins, and do you know what? I got paid nothing to make any of these audit videos so far. I feel far richer though than this imbecile should or ever will. Now, if you think I've been too harsh on this Chief Inspector, don't feel too bad for him. He still has local news outlets championing him, such as Manchester Evening News, Lancashire Telegraph, Planet Radio or Oldham Chronicle. Any news outlet where they're desperate to fill their pages up full of any artificial nonsense that they can muster up. On 6th of January this year, on planetradio.co.uk, it was reported that at around 5 p.m. on Tuesday, 26th of December, officers received reports of a disturbance involving a large group of people at the Arndale Centre. with Chief Inspector Stephen Wiggins stating that we're continuing to work with our partners to tackle this issue and would like to reassure nearby residents and visitors to the city centre that we'll continue to deploy extra officers and deal with those involved appropriately. And what was this incident that required thousands of pounds in man-hours and precious resources being filtered out of neighbouring areas and placed into Arndale? Chairs being launched by children at one another, while shoppers were stood watching at a safe distance. Excellent. And what did Chief Inspector Wiggins' crew do about this damage to the unsuspecting seating furniture? Officers attended, and with the aid of Arndale security, 2 juveniles were arrested and then later released under investigation. So you caught them, and then you let them go. Well done. £64,000 a year salary justified. The Chief Inspector then used this fabricated boogeyman to hatch the following scheme. We have deployed neighbourhood officers to work alongside partners, including staff in the Arndale Centre, to conduct patrols, to provide a visible reassurance and speak to any individuals who are causing issues. Oh, visible reassurance. You mean like this?
The fact that we've arrested someone with a fucking 10-inch machete in it, is that good enough for you? Or do you want to piss off down the street and let's do a fucking job?
We want to deliver and what our community rightly expects from us, and we'll continue this momentum by conducting CCTV trawls. Ah, CCTV trawls. So this is how they discovered blind spots within the shopping centre where officers could take children to abuse them, whilst not wearing their body cams to record the evidence of themselves doing it. All of the above is exactly the reason I will never hear from the police regarding my crime, because in doing so, they would be admitting to fault on their behalf of abusing the law to inflate the arrest rate again. So what next for GMP and Chief Inspector Stephen Wiggins and his ragtag group of child bullies? This via Manchester Evening News, 20th of January 2024. Greater Manchester Police have responded to the viral wave of TikToks of women filmed on the streets of Manchester city centre. Good grief. Chief Inspector Stephen Wiggins of GMP City of Manchester Central District said, "We are aware that concern over a number of online accounts filming women on nights out has been raised on social media." Oh, Steve. Whilst it is not illegal to film people in public without their consent, well, why don't I just stop you right there, Steve? If it's not illegal, then you have no reason to waste the public's money on more abuse of plainclothes policies to make artificial arrests. 64 grand a year this guy makes. We will listen to you, investigate each instance on its individual facts, and ensure you are provided access to specialist support services. We prioritise the safety of all individuals, taking proactive measures against predatory and misogynistic behaviour. Ah, predatory and misogynistic. 2 words that I would never associate with Greater Manchester Police. Oh, wait. Oh my. Are you really looking for predators to arrest, or are you looking for more recruits, Steve? Speaking of predatory police, I have been keeping an eye on the homeless situation in city centre to ensure that they are kept safe from the preying hands of GMP, and after speaking to a couple of them firsthand, I was informed of some absolute horror stories regarding the officers Chief Inspector Stephen Wiggins is in charge of. One story included a homeless woman being coerced into sex with a police officer in city centre. Another included officers dealing drugs with local dealers, as well as stealing money from homeless people's cups to keep for themselves. Predators? I'd rather take my chances with the actual predator than these thugs any day of the week. I also witnessed 2 Greater Manchester police officers taking photos of the homeless using their personal smartphones. When I quizzed them about it, this is what they had to say.
Excuse me, why did you take a photograph of those homeless people? Oh, we're doing that for our feedback and referrals. Yeah, so we've got referrals to help them. You're recording, yeah?
Are you?
I'm not recording, but it's referrals for any help. Yeah.
So if you need any help.
So who are you going to send that to?
Student engagement team. People who help you. You're recording, right? So you're asking me questions like...
You're not supposed to take photographs of homeless people, that's disgusting. However, of all the horror stories that I was told by the homeless, the most terrifying was told to me by a woman who stated that the inspector who was responsible for rounding up homeless and vulnerable during Christmas was recently awarded by King Charles himself for honorary contributions for policing. I was appalled. That can't be true, can it? And lo and behold, your Inspector Camhare, Chief Inspector Wiggins, who couldn't even be bothered following proper police uniform code for the very press photo for his own damn royal honour. This is your subordinate, Chief Inspector Wiggins, and a representation of you, your district, and your professionalism, which is virtually non-existent. You ought to be ashamed for creating these operations where you actively seek out easy targets to inflate GMP's arrest rate and then publicly dress it up as if you're acting on behalf of their interests. You're not doing these things for our interests. You're doing these things on behalf of your own interests, which is exactly what you aren't supposed to do according to one of the 9 policing principles, selflessness. But then again, you aren't a police officer. The very fact that someone like you rose to the ranks of Chief Inspector means that there's something truly terrible going wrong within UK policing. You, Chief Inspector Stephen Wiggins of Manchester Central Division, are dismissed. It is clear that GMP will be looking for more vulnerable targets thanks to the likes of Chief Inspector Stephen Wiggins. I do not recommend socialising after dark alone. It is wise, if you are going out, to go with friends, and if for any reason you are stopped and searched by the police, that you exercise your right to ask questions. The police cannot refuse to answer you the following. Number 1. Am I detained? If it is unclear, always ask first. If you are actually being detained for a stop and search or are being arrested. They oftentimes don't make this clear, and they should very well be able to tell you if you are free to walk away from them or not. Just because a police officer has approached you and is asking you questions, that doesn't necessarily mean you are detained and cannot walk away. They cannot force you to stand there and answer questions. Since the police are seemingly going after people taking photographs in public, remember there is no law against taking photographs in public, and they simply cannot arrest or detain you for this. Not that that has ever stopped them trying this, though. Number 2. Section. If you are detained, ask under what section of the law. A section is usually the word section followed by number, the legal act it represents, followed by the year and the crime that they think you've committed. For example, Section 39 of the Criminal Justice Act, 1988, for common assault. Number 3. Grounds. The next thing you should ask for is for what grounds. This stands for reasonable grounds, which is the explanation as to why they've concluded that you've broken a law. A reasonable ground can be anything that can be explained and justifiable to a reasonable member of the public. So, for example, reasonable grounds could be, we have been informed or have evidence to believe that a person matching your exact description has assaulted someone within this area. Notice the specificity when it comes to the assault, description and descriptive language such as exact. The more specific, the more reasonable. Usually, when officers are abusing the law, they are not able to give you specifics that would tie you to an actual crime, but rather dance around it. So unreasonable grounds would be, we've been informed by a third party that someone matching your description is acting suspiciously, and there has been a lot of assaults in this area, so for that reason you are being detained. This is not reasonable grounds, as the language is vague, unspecific, and subjective to interpretation. Number 4. Search record. The last thing that you should ask for is a search record, even if the 2 points above were addressed correctly. This is essentially a receipt for your stop and search, and this will give you evidence to use for what is called a civil claim. The biggest civil claims solicitors in the UK is HNK Solicitors, who deal with a lot of unlawful stop and searches and arrests. I will put a link to their website in the description. However, sometimes the police will, for whatever reason, not give a search record. They may tell you to visit their station to receive one. You must know which station they come from and what collar number the officer has that was dealing with you, as this will be asked from you when you get to the reception. So, to surmise, am I detained? Section, grounds, search record. The acronym is ASGS, asks, as in a wise person always asks questions.